September 12, 1814. Bloody encounter. The Battle of North Point took place as part of the larger British campaign against Baltimore during the War of 1812. The engagement occurred shortly after the burning of Washington, when British forces sought to strike another major American city to weaken morale and disrupt the economy. Baltimore was a vital port, known for its shipbuilding and privateering activities that had harassed British commerce. The British hoped that a decisive blow against the city would pressure the United States into accepting peace on favorable terms. Major General Robert Ross, who had commanded British troops during the capture of Washington, led the land assault toward Baltimore. His force consisted of approximately 5,000 soldiers, including experienced units from the Peninsular War. On the American side, Brigadier General John Stricker commanded a defensive force of about 3,200 Maryland militia positioned along North Point Peninsula. The American plan was to delay the British advance long enough for Baltimore's defenses to be strengthened. The battle began when the British advanced along the narrow peninsula leading toward the city. American skirmishers engaged the British vanguard, creating an initial clash that shaped the encounter. Early in the action, General Ross rode forward to reconnoiter the enemy position. During this movement, he was struck by American fire and mortally wounded. His death deprived the British of a respected commander whose leadership had been critical in previous successes. Command passed to Colonel Arthur Brooke, who continued the advance despite the loss. The engagement intensified as the British pressed against the Maryland militia lines near Bear Creek. The militia fought stubbornly, delivering heavy fire before gradually falling back under pressure. Although eventually forced to retreat, the Americans had inflicted significant casualties and slowed the British progress. The delay gave Baltimore's defenders, including citizen soldiers and regular troops, valuable time to complete fortifications around the city and at Fort McHenry. From a strategic perspective, the Battle of North Point was not a decisive American victory on the field, yet it played a crucial role in the defense of Baltimore. The loss of General Ross undermined British morale and disrupted the coherence of their campaign. Colonel Brooke's subsequent advance reached the outskirts of Baltimore, but the strength of the city's defenses, combined with the naval failure to overcome Fort McHenry, convinced the British to withdraw. Thus, the battle became an important element in the chain of events that preserved Baltimore from capture. The death of Ross also carried symbolic weight. He had been a proven commander with a record of success in Europe and North America. His fall at North Point demonstrated the determination of American forces and showed that militia, often criticized for poor performance, could stand against professional troops when properly positioned. The Maryland militia's resistance at North Point contributed to a broader sense of local and national pride that bolstered American resolve as the war continued. The significance of the battle extended beyond military outcomes. The defense of Baltimore, made possible in part by the delay at North Point, inspired Francis Scott Key to write the verses that became the Star-Spangled Banner. While that inspiration drew primarily from the bombardment of Fort McHenry, the entire defense of Baltimore was interconnected, with North Point serving as the first line of resistance on land. Without the sacrifice of the militia in that engagement, the city might have been overrun before Fort McHenry's defense could gain historical prominence. In the broader context of the War of 1812, the Battle of North Point illustrated the limits of British power during extended campaigns in the United States. Although Britain could strike with professional forces, local resistance, geography, and determined defenses reduced their ability to achieve lasting conquests. The defense of Baltimore strengthened American bargaining power in the peace negotiations at Ghent, which concluded the war later in the year. North Point, therefore, was not merely a local skirmish, but a key episode in preserving American sovereignty during a period of national trial. The Battle of North Point endures in historical memory as a clash where citizen soldiers played a decisive role and where the loss of a skilled opponent altered the course of a campaign. It stands as an example of how determined resistance, even in the face of superior professional troops, could shape outcomes with lasting significance. The engagement helped secure Baltimore, inspired national symbols, and contributed to the eventual peace settlement that preserved the United States' independence and territorial integrity. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.